Hello everybody and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips, and as usual I have a couple of announcements. The first thing is that next week the Women's Health certification course starts, and so if you're not registered for that yet, it's an 8-hour course, 4 2-hour classes. We're going to record them. You can listen to the recordings if you can't be on the classes. We're going to put them on a video platform. You can watch the videos when we get that done in December. But you will get certified to teach a women's health course once you go through that whole program. And the other thing, winter semester starts in January. We have a full course offering schedule. Diet and lifestyle will be offered again. So anyway, check out winter semester. If you have not yet taken classes from the Wellness Forum Institute, you certainly should look into it. And then I am really excited to announce that we finally are ready to launch our full, huge, comprehensive course on vaccinations. Dr. Kathy Waller is a former immunology professor at The Ohio State University Medical School, who now has taken all that time she used to spend teaching, and she's created this ginormous vaccine program that this is the most comprehensive, all in one place, all with phenomenally reliable resources on everything from mercury and adjuvants in vaccines to immunology basics and the history of vaccination. Each and every vaccination, the disease that it's used for, what is your risk of getting this disease, what were the disease rates before and after vaccines, and everything you've always wanted to know, with literally hundreds and hundreds of references. So this is taught on a video platform, and in the month of November, we are offering you an opportunity to register for a significantly discounted price. And then December 1st, we go to the regular price. So if you're interested in knowing about this, and I think this is an extremely important issue, write to me at pampopper@msn.com. And by the way, the problem on the vaccine issue is we have people over here saying we're going to inoculate kids with 57 or 67 vaccines before they go to school. We have people over here screaming and hollering, highly emotional charge on either side, and we really do need to take a very solid, objective look at this using evidence only, and that's what this course is all about. No screaming, hollering, rhetoric, no hearsay, hardcore numbers and references for everything. All right, the way we do it here at Wellness Forum Health. So finally, and we never could have done this without Dr. Waller, because the amount of time it takes to put something together that involves 15-20 lectures is just enormous. All right, so let's get down to some news here today. One of the most commonly cited reasons for not eating well is lack of time. People list circumstances like demanding jobs, and I have kids, and my kids have activities, and I hear this stuff all day long. But research shows that this may not be the real issue, particularly the business about my kids and their activities keep me from eating well. Because when kids are grown and out of the house, most people end up having worse, not better habits, even though theoretically, relief from all those child-related chores should free up a lot of time to invest in eating well and doing the right things. So, a study of 2,000 people over the age of 60 showed that the leading reason for not eating well is no longer needing to worry about what the kids in the family were eating. So what this really means is that while the kids are home, parents can't eat well because of the time needed to take care of the kids, and then after the kids leave home, the reason is the parents no longer have to worry about how to feed the kids. I guess if you don't want to do this, there are all kinds of ways to get out of it. Any excuse will do. Some of the other reasons cited were health issues, reduced hunger, and living alone. According to the surveys, 62% of the empty nesters regularly eat toast, cookies, and just coffee or tea instead of meals. 1 in 10 report never sitting down to a meal prepared at home. 1 in 20 only cook when they have company. Over 10% reported undereating, 10% reported overeating, and 48% reported not eating a healthy breakfast. The average person in this age group, according to these surveys, skips 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 1 dinner each week. So if time isn't the issue, what is it? Well, I think it's probably a combination of things. People don't understand the importance of eating well. They lack the skills to do it. Combination of both. Taste and convenience, I'm sure, are factors too. But I think if people really understood the risks associated with not eating well, they would do a better job when their kids are home. They'd do a better job when their kids have left home. I think everybody would do a better job if they just knew exactly what to do and how much it mattered. But Anyway, I intend to bring this up the next time somebody tells me I'm too busy because of my kids. Well, you'll probably be busy after your kids too. And you know, one thing, when people tell me they're too busy to do anything, you know, exercise or whatever it is that they're saying they don't have the time to do, you know, I have never met anybody when I've brought up the topic of exercising or more education or whatever the topic happened to be that we were discussing, who said, you know, I am so glad you mentioned something to me, because I have been sitting around looking at the wall for 2 hours a day for the last 2 or 3 years, hoping somebody would find something for me to do with all this free time I have. Nobody has free time. And somehow people who want to get things done manage to sandwich all these things in the midst of a very busy schedule. So if you want to eat well, you will figure out how to eat well. If you want to exercise, you'll figure out how to do it. All right, so on to the next topic. New information comes out almost every week and is available in medical journals about the useless and harmful test drugs and procedures, which are enthusiastically promoted by doctors in their offices to patients every day. The Choose Wisely campaign was launched in 2012 to rein in the excesses of medicine by promoting the idea that responsible doctors should commit to limit waste and avoid harm by recommending fewer diagnostic tests, treatments, and procedures. Now, it sounded like a great idea, and 70 medical specialty societies, over 70 specialty societies, thought it was a great idea and signed on and said, yeah, we want to support the initiative. The problem is nothing changed. This happens all the time in medicine. It doesn't matter what the information says, nothing changed. As of 2013, the use of interventions that have been determined to have little or no value have not been reduced, and in fact, for some of them, the use has been increased. So a recent review looked at the claims of members of Anthem-affiliated commercial health plans for 7 of the services that were targeted by the Choose Wisely campaign. Of the 7, the use of only 2 had declined, and not by much. Imaging for headache decreased, and cardiac imaging for low-risk patients decreased a tiny little bit, like 0.5%. There was no change in the use of antibiotics for sinus infections, which are usually fungal, by the way, so antibiotics don't even work. The use of preoperative chest x-rays or imaging for low back pain. The use of 2 services increased. In fact, 9 out of 10 patients had unnecessary preoperative chest x-rays. 90%, that's a lot. The use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs for people with hypertension, heart failure, and chronic kidney disease increased a little bit. Testing younger women for human papillomavirus increased. And I'm not going to go into the details. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of articles in the HealthBrace library about all the useless and harmful results of all this stuff that they're talking about here, so I won't go into that here. But the bottom line is that 70 medical societies sign on to this saying this is a good idea, and it never translates to use in a medical practice. I mean, it's just very, very frustrating. As Dr. Gilbert Welch says in his book, Less Medicine, More Health, less healthcare is almost always better. And of course, he, like many people, writes books directed at patients because it is the medical profession is just the immovable force trying to get anything done. So, you know, the patients have to say no. Well, in an attempt to get doctors to pay more attention, the Choose Wisely campaign has partnered with Consumer Reports to provide education about these issues. The partnership's website includes videos and written information. It targets both doctors and patients. Patients are advised to consider asking questions like, what are the risks if I do this? And what happens if I don't do anything? I mean, people seem to feel like you got to do something about everything. And of course, that idea is promoted by doctors, but it's not necessarily always the case. The authors of the review concluded, these results suggest that additional interventions are necessary for wider implementation of Choosing Wisely recommendations. I'm not sure what types of interventions would be effective. Now, there are a lot of great doctors out there who want to do the right thing. They're open to change. They work hard at doing what's best for their patients. A lot of them end up taking classes here. But this study shows this is just not the case for most doctors. Initiatives to force doctors to learn new things have been met with a lot of resistance. Some of you may know that the leading opponent to mandated nutrition education for doctors in California, when that bill was up for consideration in the legislature, was the California Medical Association. Now, Dr. John McDougall, who was the champion of that cause, managed to get the bill passed in spite of this opposition, but the opposition speaks volumes for how doctors think and how their associations look at these types of issues. So, I guess we could kidnap doctors and lock them in my basement and talk to them until they see the error of their ways, but I think that's still against the law. So I think consumer education is what we're stuck with in terms of a way to change the whole situation. More and more people need to learn to just say no, because we can't count on doctors to follow the evidence in many cases about when we should just leave people alone and tests they're just better off not having, and et cetera, et cetera. So there is hope, however. I will relate one story to you. One of our members, you might remember a few weeks ago, I did one of these video clips on this new diagnosis of thyroid nodules, because people are having all kinds of images that find them accidentally, and this leads to biopsies and surgeries and all that sort of thing. But anyway, one of our members took that article to a physician who thanked him for bringing it and said, maybe we should just leave you alone. So that's what makes me excited, is that there are doctors out there who are listening. We just need to get more of them on board with this type of thinking. All right, that's all for now. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you Thursday with more news.